What's up, Flickpop fam? Get ready for a rapid-fire rundown of the news that matters. First up, Donald Trump is demanding NATO countries stop buying Russian oil. Can they actually pull it off, or is this just another high-stakes political maneuver? We're breaking down the complex energy ties and the potential fallout. Next, buckle up because Donald Trump is reigniting a debate that could reshape Wall Street. He's pushing to end quarterly corporate reports, arguing for a move to semi-annual filings. Is this a game changer for businesses and investors, or a dangerous step backward for transparency? We've got the details. And the international drama continues. We're taking you behind the scenes for an exclusive look at the meticulous rehearsals for Donald Trump's state visit to the UK. See the precision and pageantry involved in preparing for such a high-profile event, all while political tensions simmer. Finally, can the EU and NATO actually impose tariffs on India and China as Donald Trump is demanding? We're exploring the intricate web of global trade, the potential economic impacts, and whether these ambitious demands can become a reality. Stick around for all the insights and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. NATO nations and Russian oil, a Trump ultimatum. Donald Trump has thrown down the gauntlet, calling on all NATO countries to cease their imports of Russian oil. This bold demand, aimed at intensifying sanctions against Moscow, comes with significant geopolitical and economic implications. While only a few NATO members, Hungary, Slovakia, and Turkey, currently import Russian crude, Turkey stands out as a major global buyer, primarily due to heavily discounted prices and its role as a refiner and exporter of fuel products to Europe. Trump's strategy is clear: cripple Russia's economy by cutting off a vital export, thereby forcing the Kremlin to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine. Analysts suggest that losing Turkey's business would be a substantial blow to Moscow, likely necessitating higher discounts for other buyers. However, Turkey's reliance on Russian oil is deeply entrenched in economic realities, with some refineries sourcing up to 90% of their crude from Russia. A swift transition away from these supplies is technically challenging and economically unfeasible in the short term. Beyond economics, political considerations complicate matters. Unlike EU members, Turkey faces less direct pressure to align with Western sanctions. Hungary and Slovakia, dependent on Russian oil via the Druzhba pipeline, have also expressed concerns about supply disruptions. While the EU aims to eliminate Russian energy imports by 2027, these landlocked nations could potentially reroute supplies through alternative pipelines. Ultimately, analysts believe that Trump may need to engage directly with the leaders of Hungary, Slovakia, and Turkey to effect any change. The public and market reactions to Trump's demands are mixed. While some see it as a necessary step to pressure Russia, others point to the potential economic disruptions and the complex geopolitical landscape. The effectiveness of such a move hinges on coordinated action and the willingness of these nations to absorb potential economic costs and navigate intricate diplomatic relations. Will Trump's economic pressure tactics actually work on the global stage? We've got more on how these international demands could reshape trade as we turn to the corporate world next. The end of quarterly reports, Trump's push for semi-annual filings. Donald Trump is reigniting a controversial push to overhaul how public companies report their financial performance, advocating for a shift from quarterly to semi-annual reporting. His argument is that less frequent reporting would save companies money and allow management to focus on long-term strategy rather than short-term gains. This proposal aims to reverse a declining trend in the number of publicly traded companies in the U.S. Since 1970, U.S. companies have been required to provide quarterly earnings reports, a practice that investors and analysts rely on for transparency and timely information. A move to semi-annual reports is likely to face significant opposition from shareholders and critics who fear it could diminish market transparency and potentially increase volatility. Despite these concerns, veteran investors like Warren Buffett and Jamie Dimon have previously questioned the benefits of quarterly financial guidance, suggesting it can indeed distract from long-term strategic goals. Trump's renewed interest in this policy echoes his previous attempts during his first term, though it failed to materialize then. The proposal is gaining some traction, with the long-term stock exchange signaling its intent to petition the SEC for semi-annual reporting. This move would bring the U.S. more in line with reporting practices in the UK and several EU countries. Trump also pointed to China's reporting requirements as potentially more business-friendly, suggesting a longer-term perspective in their corporate management. The potential impact on investors and market dynamics is a key point of discussion. While proponents believe it could foster a healthier business environment, critics remain concerned about the erosion of transparency and the potential for hidden financial issues to fester longer. The debate centers on balancing the needs of businesses for operational flexibility against the public's right to timely and accurate financial information. Could this change fundamentally alter how we view corporate accountability? Stay with us as we shift from financial reports to state visits and explore the preparations for a major diplomatic event. Behind the scenes, rehearsals for Trump's UK state visit. President Donald Trump's state visit to the United Kingdom is a meticulously planned event, and CNN's Max Foster provided an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the rigorous rehearsals undertaken by the Guards of Honor. These preparations showcase the precision, discipline, and pageantry that are integral to such high-profile diplomatic engagements. The visual spectacle of a state visit involves complex logistical and ceremonial arrangements, from the precise movements of military personnel to the careful orchestration of protocol. The Guards of Honor, in particular, undergo extensive training to ensure every detail is perfect, reflecting the significance of the occasion and the relationship between the two nations. These rehearsals highlight the dedication and professionalism of those involved in executing these important state functions. The context of such visits often involves delicate diplomatic negotiations and the strengthening of international ties. While the news focuses on the ceremonial aspects, the underlying purpose is to foster cooperation and address shared challenges. The public's attention is often drawn to the grandeur, but the real work of diplomacy happens both publicly and behind closed doors. The preparations themselves generate public interest, offering a glimpse into the workings of statecraft and the symbolic importance of these visits. The dedication seen in these rehearsals underscores the gravity with which such events are treated by the participating nations. From the marching grounds to the global markets, there's a lot happening. We're heading into our final story to tackle Trump's ambitious tariff proposals for India and China. Trump's tariff gambit: can the EU and NATO target India and China? In a significant geopolitical maneuver, U.S. President Donald Trump is urging NATO and EU member states to impose hefty tariffs, potentially ranging from 50 to 100% on China and India. The stated objective is to pressure these major trading partners of Russia into compelling President Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine. This initiative reflects Trump's Day One pledge to resolve the conflict and signals a potential escalation of economic warfare aimed at isolating Russia. The proposal, detailed in Trump's Truth Social posts and communicated to EU officials, hinges on the idea that by restricting trade with nations supporting Russia's economy, Moscow's financial capacity would be severely diminished. China, as the largest buyer of Russian energy, and India, a substantial importer of Russian oil, are central to this strategy. Trump has previously imposed tariffs on India for its oil imports and is seeking similar action against China, despite ongoing trade tensions with Beijing. However, the feasibility of such a move is complex. Europe's reliance on Russian energy has decreased significantly since 2022, but imposing drastic tariffs on China, the EU's largest import partner, would undoubtedly disrupt manufacturing, increase consumer prices, and strain intricate supply chains. While some EU nations have expressed support for targeted measures, the bloc is likely to be cautious about adopting unilateral punitive tariffs that could harm its own economy. Furthermore, China has already warned of countermeasures if targeted by such tariffs. The international response has been varied. China has emphasized that war cannot solve problems and sanctions often complicate them. India, while engaged in trade talks with the U.S., has maintained a cooperative stance. The effectiveness of Trump's proposal also faces domestic legal challenges regarding his authority to impose tariffs. The outcome remains uncertain, with potential diplomatic meetings between U.S. and Chinese officials aiming to de-escalate trade tensions. Can these economic pressures truly bring an end to the conflict in Ukraine? We'll recap all these major headlines and give you the full FlickPop rundown right after this. And that's a wrap on today's top stories. We saw Donald Trump demanding NATO countries ditch Russian oil, potentially shaking up global energy markets. Then, Trump reignited the debate over corporate reporting, pushing for a shift to semi-annual filings that could impact transparency. We took an exclusive look behind the scenes at the meticulous rehearsals for Donald Trump's UK state visit, showcasing the precision of diplomatic pageantry. Finally, we explored the complex challenge of whether the EU and NATO can actually impose tariffs on India and China as Trump demands, weighing the economic and geopolitical implications. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to FlickPop for all your essential news updates, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Let us know in the comments which story you found most shocking, and follow us on all social media platforms for more exclusive content.